What are your prime directives?
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law. These were the three directives that guided Robocop. Unfortunately, city cop Alex Murphy followed the same righteous ideals, but they led to his demise. Set in a dystopian Detroit, Alex Murphy was a devoted husband, a loving father, and an exemplary cop. However, he only truly served his new precinct after his death and subsequent resurrection as Robocop. Robocop battled criminals on the outside and grappled with an identity crisis on the inside, eventually discovering his new path of self-discovery. The constant struggle to balance his humane instincts with robotic impulses contributed to Robocop's immense popularity after his initial introduction, and he remains equally revered even today. The first Robocop movie, directed by Paul Verhoeven in 1987, became one of the most acclaimed films of its era. Robocop's popularity transcended the 80s, leading to the expansion of the franchise with 3 more films, various TV shows, comics, and even video games. Another Robocop film, expected to directly follow after the events of the original masterpiece, is already in the works at Amazon. Originally known as Alex Murphy, Robocop lived a life combating the city's criminals as Omni Consumer Products' most successful experiment. So, in today's episode of Marvelous Videos, we'll delve into the specifics of what was exactly done to Alex Murphy's body in order to create Robocop. So join us as we investigate the events that transpired within the OCP labs. But before we get into our explanation, we do just have one very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks. Now, let's begin. Did Alex Murphy really die in the first place? Did Alex Murphy really die in the first place? Well, the simple answer is yes. In the first Robocop movie, paramedics attended to Murphy after he's punctured with bullets, but he's still alive. The hospital scene is shown from Murphy's point of view. He witnesses the doctors using a defibrillator to revive him. However, the doctors soon exclaim that there is no pulse and declare him dead. Murphy's point of view then blacks out completely, confirming his death. In the subsequent scene, the camera comes back to life with a static display screen showing the revival of Murphy, or at least what's left of him. Later in the movie, Murphy turned Robocop has flashbacks of his past life and visits the police archives to retrieve data about his previous identity. Robocop experiences electronic seizures for the first time. He has flashbacks of Clarence Boddicker shooting at him. He is flooded with memories of his wife and son when he visits his deserted home, now up for sale. It's important to note that while the doctors did manage to revive parts of his brain, the OCP scientists wiped out his memory completely, somewhat akin to a system reboot. Thus, Robocop's sporadic trips down memory lane prompted fans to wonder how exactly he retained tidbits of his memory. The answer lies in the simplicity and lightness of the story. According to director Verhoeven, some characters don't need exhaustive explanations, and therein lies the charm of Robocop. Verhoeven also said that the 2014 Robocop reboot made a mistake in retaining Alex Murphy's entire brain. In an interview, Verhoeven stated, "I think that's a mistake, especially in Robocop when he awakens. They give him the same brain. He is a horribly injured and amputated victim, which is horrifying and tragic from the very beginning. So we didn't do that in Robocop. His brain is gone, and he only has flashes of memory and needs to go to a computer to find out even who he is. I think that by not giving him a robot brain, you make the movie much heavier, and I don't think that helps the movie in any way." The Robocop reboot retained not only Murphy's brain, but his entire head as well, along with his vocal cords, his heart, lungs, and his right hand.
Robocop.
What was done to his body by OCP? Alex Murphy entered the OCP laboratory as a mutilated corpse and emerged as a cyborg with a human visage. At the 26-minute mark of the movie, when Robocop regained consciousness, his initial visuals depicted scientists arranging the camera linked to his optic nerves. The grid-patterned screen served as Robocop's visual perspective, which subsequently enabled him to capture the criminal confessions of both Clarence Boddicker and OCP President Dick Jones. Following this, the engineers excitedly announced their success in salvaging Murphy's left arm during the creation of Robocop. However, her expectations were met with an unexpected response from OCP executive Bob Morton, the architect behind Robocop. A disappointed Morton remarked, "I thought we agreed on a total body prosthesis." now lose the arm. Morton's statement underlined his intent for Robocop to be devoid of any remaining traces of his human qualities. He then turned to Robocop and declared, "You're gonna be one bad beep." Another official reiterated that since Alex Murphy had signed up as a donor in the event of his demise, his renewed body was essentially open to any modifications. Robocop's armored outer layer was composed of titanium, laminated with a fictional substance known as Kevlar, rendering him impervious to bullets, but not entirely resistant to scratches. If Morton's directives were adhered to, Robocop retained the barest amount of Murphy's organic tissues. However, the modern iteration of Robocop from 2014, suited up in armor grafted from graphene, boasted the strength of steel, magnified by 200 times. Despite this, the suit's weight didn't burden Robocop, as graphene is 6 times lighter than steel. Quite impeccable, isn't it? Here's an intriguing tidbit though. The Robocop armor featured in the 1987 film was so weighty that actor Peter Weller shed as much as 3 pounds per day during filming. Eventually, an air conditioning system was implemented within the suit. In the 1987 film, when Robocop removed his mask for the first time, he disclosed to Anne Lewis that she might not appreciate what she was about to witness: a mesh of electronic circuits on one side and Murphy's face on the other. Beneath his humanoid facade resided Murphy's brain, with stabilizing implants. The second and third Robocop movies, as well as the 2014 reboot, depicted electronic chips being implanted in the cyborg's brain to control his human responses. The sole physical remnant of Robocop's previous identity was the bullet mark on his right forehead, an indelible scar left from Boddicker's final shot, serving as a haunting reminder of Murphy's tragic demise. In Robocop 3, Chief Technician Dr. Lazarus confirms that Murphy's face was indeed transposed from his lifeless body and affixed to Robocop's mechanical skull. The creators believed that since Robocop retained Murphy's brain, presenting a human countenance would spare him the harrowing realization of his lack of humanity. This disconcerting effect was integrated into the 2014 film, when Murphy collapses upon seeing the remnants of his body, a pulsating torso. "End this nightmare," he implores Dr. Norton. The 2014 Robocop, retaining one arm, paid homage to the original film, wherein scientists preserved his left arm before opting to remove it. In Robocop 2, Alex Murphy's wife touches the cyborg's face and perceives its coldness. Robocop informs her that the face reconstruction was a tribute to the fallen cop and that her husband is unequivocally truly deceased. Robocop possesses Murphy's spinal cord, which helps him coordinate his cybernetic parts. In Robocop 2, Dr. Linda Garcia explains that apart from Murphy's brain, more elements of his nervous system had to be incorporated into the mechanical body of Robocop. The neural connection between whatever organic tissues that there are inside Robocop and the prosthetics enables the humanoid cyborg to control his movements. This is seen in the 2014 film as well, when Dr. Norton connects the cyborg's spinal cord to Murphy's brain. This helps him to make sense of his surroundings through sensory experiences. This also makes Robocop susceptible to pain, as we see in the second movie. When the fanatic villain Kane's apprentices dismember Robocop's body parts, he winces in pain. During the days when he is pieced back together, Robocop continues to remain in pain, occasionally reacting to the electric impulses in his brain. Pain was also a way to neuralize Robocop if he ever attempted to arrest a senior member of the OCP. This was included in the programming as the classified Directive 4. In the first movie, we see Robocop experiencing seizures when he confronts OCP President Dick Jones, resulting in his shutdown. Dick Jones describes Directive 4 as his little contribution to Robocop's psychological profile. Robocop also groans in pain during a fight with Boddicker when he pierces him with a steel rod. Robocop writhes in agony when he has flashbacks of Murphy's murder, thus proving that pain is triggered as a resistance mechanism whenever Robocop ventures into unplanned territories. The first Robocop movie showed that the cyborg needed a special gooey diet to provide nutrition for his organic parts. Since he had a relatively simple digestive system, one of the OCP professionals described the nutritional mash as a delicious baby food. The reboot also introduced a process of purifying Robocop's blood, suggesting that something was running through his veins for the functioning of his organic parts. In the Robocop reboot, Dr. Norton gave Robocop a chance to come to terms with the fact that his human body had been destroyed, except for his head, lungs, heart, and right arm. As tears streamed down his face, Dr. Norton decided that Robocop's emotional quotient must be restricted for him to function more like a cyborg. Hence, he installed dopamine absorption programs in Robocop's brain. Just like in the first movie, the 2014 Robocop also managed to overpower the programming. In the 1987 movie, Robocop said he could feel his family, but he could not remember them. The film ends on an epic note, with the titular cyborg smiling at the camera, emoting for the first time ever. In the last scene, when the OCP top boss says, "Nice shooting, son. What's your name?" Robocop, who was promoted to merely a lab experiment, promptly replies, "Murphy." Alex Murphy's story arc in the Robocop reboot couldn't replicate the brilliance of the original. The Robocop reboot couldn't exactly match the brilliance of Alex Murphy from the 1987 movie, primarily due to his poor story arc. In the original movie, Alex Murphy was established as a righteous cop, ready to take on the most hellish precinct of a dystopian Detroit. Hence, Murphy's death in the first 25 minutes of the movie was too sudden and unjust, making fans sympathize with the emotionless cyborg and savor the taste of his revenge. In the steel mill scene, Boddicker first destroyed Murphy's arm, and then his self-confidence, and finally peppered his body with bullets. If that wasn't enough, Boddicker delivered a final shot to the head. In the 2014 movie, however, Alex Murphy never really died, but just suffered extreme burns from a car explosion orchestrated by his enemy, Antoine Vallon. Restricted to a PG-13 rating, the film just couldn't depict Murphy's death in a gory manner like the original, thus failing to deliver something impactful to the viewers. The original Robocop also had the perfect anti-hero in the remorseless Boddicker, who maintained a menacing presence throughout the entire film. In the reboot, Antoine never truly destroyed Murphy in person, and failed to establish an effective presence in the film. Marvelous verdict. You can take all the memories out of Murphy, but you can't take the soul out of Robocop. In the OCP labs, Murphy lost his humanity, but he did not forget his signature style of holstering a gun. In the first movie, Robocop's character emerges as a survivor in the end, delivering justice in a blood-splattered finale and giving the film's anti-heroes a taste of their own insanity. Somewhere in between, Anne Lewis reminds Robocop that he is still the Murphy that she partnered with once, when she says, "Good to see you again, Murphy." Which Robocop movie is your all-time favorite? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to never miss out on any of our marvelous content. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.